and welcome back to Frost Electronics. I want to introduce a new word today, structure. The first video was basically like Christmas. Everything got unpacked at once, and afterwards I was not totally sure what I actually got. So today we are slowing the things down. We are taking the chaos from video 1 and turning it into something I can actually work with. And we are starting with the power supply and the measuring gear, because if that part isn't in order, nothing else will be either. Alright, so let's get to work. Welcome to my second video that's also about unboxing to my new bins. And this time I'll start with the power supply, because you cannot have a bins working without a neat power supply. And this power supply is from Wamtec, and it can go to 30 volts, 5 amps, and that should be enough for what I'm planning to do. And in the box we got the manual for the power supply, a cable for Europe, and a cable with crocodile clips on. And a warranty card in Chinese. We can try to just connect to see if it is alive or not. It looks like it's working fine. And together with the normal bench power supply, you also need a secondary power supply. It's not that big, but it's adjustable from 0 to 20, from 0 to 24 volts and 3 amps. And it has a lot of different connectors that should be enough to power most of whatever I'm going to look at. After power supply, I will take a look at a microscope. So let's just have a look in here. Here we also got user's manual, and the microscope itself is a 10.1 inch microscope from Star. I have read a lot of positive things about this microscope, and I can connect it to the computer and all that. I'm looking so much forward to use it. And in the box you also got light and stuff, and the plate you can mount it to. But I also bought this one. And that is a microscope stand, so I can mount it on the table instead, so I can so it's easier to move away or take in to look at whatever I'm looking at. So I think it will be over here in the corner, so I can just pull it away. That's also a nice thing I'm looking forward for. Then the next part, that is multimeters in a hole. I'll just find the stuff I'm going to unpack. And to start in the other end, I got this one, and it's an oscilloscope that a lot of you already know about. It's a dual channel 50 megahertz, and it's including an extra probe, because I think in this bag we only got one probe, so we got two probes. And some test leads, and these test leads are medium. I think it's not stiff, but it's not soft. But later I will make a comparison with other test leads for other multimeters. And this one I'm looking so much forward to use. The Zoe ZT703S, and I know a lot of you already have it, and I'm seeing it used a lot. Another multimeter from Zoe is this one. There's a thermographic, and test leads is the same, I think, and you've got a USB lead for charging. And the multimeter is this nice thing, also from Zoe, is a ZT-R02. And I will show it in another video later. This time I'm only unboxing. And I think I need another one from Zoe. It's this one. And that's an LTS transistor tester. And it's including a thermal probe, USB charger, and I think it's the same leads, and then I got some extra stuff for the transistor testing. And that's the ZT-XT1, and it's also very interesting. Looking forward to have a proper walkthrough of it. And after that I got LCR bridge tester from Zoe, and it's the Zoe ZT-MD1. And we got the manual, we got the charging cable, and we got some spare tips. And it's very nice to use, because you can just make a measurements down on all the components and stuff. And it has a lot of features, but I will talk about that in another video. Then I got something that's in the family, and this time it's not this time it's Fenesi, and this time it's Fenesi. 2 seconds. this nice box. It's almost the same as the one we just saw, but it has another ace up the sleeve. The multimeter itself is the same type as the other one. It got more features. But most interesting is that it also got Kelvin clips, and Kelvin clips is something totally different, because when you're going to use the Kelvin clips, you just take off the normal tweezer and then you add the Kelvin clips instead, and then you got a much more exact measurement. But this one I will also show later in another type of video. Then the next measuring, then I got some new test leads that should be much better than the other one. It's much softer and it's much nicer to use, and it's more accurate, and the internal resistance is lower, and it got some spare measuring tips also. And that was all the multimeters. I got something in that reminds of multimeters, but it's testing equipment instead. First I got a LAN tester to test the local area network, and if that one is too much, I got this one. Like that. It's just a smaller local area network tester or internet cable tester. Then I got a battery meter. To measure 18650, and I can see how much how they are doing, and I can also charge them, and so. And I also got a chip tester. To test a lot of thousands of different chips. There we have the manual, and it's a standard no-name tester that's you can get in a lot of different versions. But I think it's okay just to test the 7400 series chips, and so. This one is also a battery tester, and it's a DIY kit that I have to assemble one day. Yeah. This here is a PT test, and it's both for the ISA bus and for the PCI bus to get the posting codes to see when the computer is posting if it is stocked or if the power rails is okay. And it's you can't test your PT without it, or you can't test your retro PC without it. And another tester is an up-to-coupler tester. It's not very big, but it's fine just to test up-to-couplers also in circuit to see if it's working. And then we have a USB tester. I have to be like this. And it's possible to test your power supply and how much power your devices are using, and to see if it's charging or not. Then I have a power supply tester for a PC. Like this one, you can see if the 12 volt and 5 volt and 3.3 is working as it should on your power supply in the computer. And then we have an analyzer, 24 channel 8 megahertz analyzer, 24 megahertz or 8 channel analyzer, to see if the logic in your computer is working as it should. That was all the testing equipment. Now we are going for solar or solder equipment. First we take this box, and this box is my desoldering station. With a manual, and it's a very well-known 948D1 in a Yeeha version, and it has all the stuff you usually get with it. The desoldering gun itself looks like this. But I'll not test it now. I'll just put it back and then I'll test it another day. And then I have this one. It's my hot workstation instead, with the manual. And it's yeah, you think, what is he now doing? Because the hot workstation is a combi tool, I think and hope. Yeah, it's both in soldering iron and hot work iron, and this here is the hot work part of it, and this one is the soldering part of it. Then you got spare tips and stuff. And then you think, is that really enough for a soldering iron that cheap? And I can only say that no, it is not. So I got my G-Boon T22. And it's not that big, it's not bigger than this, but it's very powerful, and a lot of people is talking very positive about it. And it got two handles, two T247, two T45, and two 10, I think. Yeah, and it got four tips. And it got this nice stand for the soldering iron. And that's also a thing I'm looking so much forward to use. And then just to be portable, then I also bought this very, very cheap battery soldering iron, rechargeable soldering iron. And if you see, the tip is size of almost nothing. But I have used it, and it is working for whatever you're going to use that small soldering iron for. But it's mostly for taking out if you're going to places with it. And maybe it's not enough with the soldering tips I just showed you, because I also got this small box. Spare tips, because I got 2+2 with the iron, and this here is 3+2, so I got four 210 irons and 5 245 irons, 245 tips, and they're all different. And just to compare, then if you take this one, is a bended tip, and this one is just a big one. So I got 5+4 different tips. And to be sure all my soldering irons are behaving well, then of course I also got a thermometer or to test your soldering irons to see if the temperature is the right one. That was the soldering department. Now we're going to EEPROM department. XGQ Pro T48, and that should be able to do the programming of EEPROMs that I need to do. And I got 10 different extras for programming, and I hope that should be enough. And also got an EEPROM eraser, so I can regret what I did and then just erase it again. And then I got USB EEPROM programmer or EEPROM reader. Then we're down to the video part. I got a 4K HDMI to HDMI, but there is a USB 3 connection too, so I can grab my HDMI signal. And then I got upscaler to 1080 from RCA, from Commodore 64 or whatever. And then I came to the pile just named the rest. And here first I got a signal generator. That's a DIY kit, so I can make it myself, and it's going up to I can't remember, and my Chinese is not that good, but it's okay to test audio system and stuff like that. Just have to and I got a capacitor discharger like this one for a major or bigger capacitors. I can discharge them before I touch them. And then I got a resistor reference and capacitor like this one. There are some resistors and some capacitors that are measured at the factory, and they know exactly how they are, so I can compare it to my own meters to see if they are far off or they are okay. And then I got a scale. It was just it's a 5 gram scale, and it's a 1 kilo scale with can't remember, but it's very fine. Like this one is 6.65 grams. And now there is only one thing left, and that is a very simple thing, but if I have an idea computer is running hot, then I can just measure the temperature. And that was the unboxing for today. I hope you found it interesting. The bench is ready, the chaos is slightly reduced, and we are one step closer to actual structure. And the links to all AliExpress are in the first comment. Next time it's the consumables, and after that the components. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and comment. No pressure. See you in the next one, assuming everything still works.